Okay, well, I joined CNA in 1981, and I was actually on sabbatical from the university I was teaching, so it was only going to be for a year. But I had so much fun here that I tossed my husband into leaving the chairmanship at Cornell, and we came down here, and we've been down here ever since, okay? What did I find so wonderful about CNA? Well, the first thing was there were a very large number of professional women, particularly women economists, which is my field. Okay, I had never been in such a rich atmosphere and never expected to find them working in the defense area. I guess one of the things that's always been important to me in my professional life is feeling I was doing a good job. And when I was a professor, it was feeling as if my students were learning things, and that I was really helping them learn things, that it wasn't just like they could pick up a book and learn it as easily, that I could somehow digest it for them and give it back to them in ways that would be easier for them to remember. In the work that I did here at CNA for the Marine Corps primarily, but also for the Navy, I always felt that I was efficient for the taxpayer, that I was well paid, but I felt the taxpayers were getting their money's worth. And that to me was very important. And I guess the other thing that was particularly important was you could always tell it like it is, but they never wanted the lily gilded when I was talking to them. So I could say things are really bad, okay? This is not working out right. We have to figure out some other way to do it. And everybody would pitch in. One of the things was convincing people early on that women in the Marine Corps were successful. And I think that the problem there was that in initial training in boot camp, women in the Marine Corps had always done very, very poorly. They had attrition rates that were at least double the male attrition rates, which means that they just didn't make it and were separated. And their first term attrition rates, which would be the rates over their 4-year contract, were well over 50%. Less than half of them would make it. And so what we did some work, and we basically figured out, we said, well, what happens if someone actually makes it through boot camp? Boot camp isn't very long, it's only 8 weeks. So that attrition is really pretty cheap, okay, if you take it early. And we looked at people who had completed boot camp, and what we found surprisingly was that women at that point did better than men. If women had completed boot camp, they were more likely to complete their first term of service than the men who had completed boot camp. And this was particularly true for minority women. For black women and Hispanic women, the Marine Corps was providing apparently jobs and opportunities that they found extremely satisfying, because their retention and their promotion rates were extremely good on the enlisted side. And that was always fun to point out to everyone, that the Marine Corps, that women weren't having such a hard time, but if they made it, that they were doing very well. I have always enjoyed working with data and information, and I suspect that the time that I was most active, I knew the manpower data better than anyone. So if someone had a question, I had the answer right there, okay? So if I was sitting in a meeting, I could provide the answer, I could go back to the office and I could tabulate something and send it off to them. And I think it was the ability to respond quickly to what they needed that got me my reputation. But the Marines were very good to me.